It's not about the job. It's about the salary.
Hello, my name is Morgan and I am a senior nursing student. I am currently doing one of my last semesters of nursing school. I recently got hired into a new grad residency program. Haven't finished my classes, haven't graduated yet, haven't taken the NCLEX yet. I still was able to land a job. So I wanted to make this video just talking about like how it happened and I guess my thoughts and feelings like around the interview process. I just want to do a little quick disclaimer. I know I put that silly little clip at the beginning of the video. That is not at all how I feel entirely. It's just a joke. I just put it in there for laughs. So like I've mentioned before, like in a previous video, I'm a nurse extern in the nurse extern program at the hospital that I work at. And that program is basically like a pipeline to a residency program, right? I went ahead and applied to the nurse residency program like back in January. And the reason I applied so early was because they opened it early, and for one. Two, I'm moving in July and rent isn't cheap and I need a job. So I wanted to secure a job like before I move and start paying this ridiculous amount of rent. So since I was already an employee in the system, all I had to do was tweak my resume a little bit, you know, add on some certifications that I recently got, put my GPA in there, you know, just spruce up the resume so it looks good. And then within 2 weeks of me actually applying and sending in my resume and all that stuff, they sent out like sign up links to sign up for virtual panel interviews. So like the panel interviews, like they had slots for different specialties. So they had like acute care slots, critical care slots, and then women's services. And then they also had a sign up link for other facilities within the company if someone didn't want to work at that specific facility. But that didn't apply to me because, you know, I might as well stay where I'm at. I was interested in doing labor and delivery like as a new grad. It's something that I will always tell people that I wanted to do, but like when it actually came down to it and when it came down to actually signing up for either acute care or women's services, I just went ahead with like general med surg because I don't know, I feel like I just want to get a more broad set of skills. Like I don't want my skill set to be so narrow and specific to like a specific demographic, and I feel like I can always like change my specialty like in the future if I feel like I want to do that. So moving on to the actual day of my interview, I had a lot going on that day, but unfortunately I was still able to prepare myself beforehand. Like I said before, it was virtual, so I didn't have to drive anywhere. I did make sure I looked nice, you know, presentable for the camera. I knew that nursing interviews are kind of like behavioral, and they'll ask you questions to kind of gauge how you're going to act in real life situations. So what I did was I just looked up a couple of like common nursing interview questions that they would ask. Some examples of those questions are like, what made you choose a career in nursing? Tell us about a time you dealt with a difficult patient. Tell us about a time you had to deal with a difficult coworker. Or how would you explain like complex medical scenarios, I guess, to a patient? I was able to give pretty well-rounded responses to like all of their questions because one, I had looked them up and wrote down my responses beforehand, and two, I had a lot of patient experience under my belt, so I could actually like talk about things that happened. However, there was this one question that did trip me up a little bit. The question was, describe a time where you were a good role model or something like that. That one got me. Like, it was complete silence. I didn't know how to answer that question. Because if we're being honest, like, what kind of question is that? Because it seems like if you know that you're a good role model, wouldn't you have to have someone else to like witness that? I did not have an answer to that question at all. Like, she had to change the entire question, and the next question she asked me was, what role do I usually take in group settings? And I was able to answer that question with ease. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this was a panel interview, meaning there was 5 different managers from 5 different units just throwing questions at me. One of my managers on the floor that I work for was also in the call as well. And I felt like once I established that I work on G5W, I kind of felt like the interview was over, because there's really no need to put me anywhere else if I'm already oriented to one unit. So after the interview process was over, I got a job offer letter within like, I don't know, like 2 weeks. They called me, woke me up from my nap and everything, and they're like, hey Morgan, so we're just finishing up last minute details on your offer letter and everything. We just had to make some last minute adjustments to your hourly wages since you have a little bit of experience, etc. And then she started talking about night shift differentials, and in my head I'm thinking like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with me, because I made sure that when they asked me the question in the interview, what shift I prefer, I made sure I said day shift. Like, I'm a day shift girl through and through, and I made sure to tell them that in the interview when they asked me what shift I prefer. So I'm thinking like, there's no way that they would put me on night shift after I told them. But tell me why I looked on that offer letter and I seen night shift. Y'all, I started crying. I literally had to cry, because like, first of all, like, things are just moving a little bit too fast for me. I'm already adjusting, or trying to adjust to being like a young adult. I'm anticipating starting this new career. There's just so many like transitions that are going on in my life, and the fact that they're telling me that I probably have to start working night shifts, I don't know, I guess that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Talking like ungodly early hours where people should be sleeping. Nights are literally for sleeping in your bed, not walking around a hospital, not using your critical thinking skills, not trying to take care of people for 12 hours. I was just so upset because I kind of felt manipulated and exploited. Like, I was literally like reading through the letter, and I was looking at my wage and this bonus that I'm eligible for. But honestly, I was just not hearing any of that, because I was still stuck on the fact that they put me on night shift. Like, I felt like the whole thing was so superficial, because it seemed like they already had made up their mind of where they were gonna put me, like, from the jump. So like, the whole interview, the questions, I just felt like it didn't really matter, because let's be honest, like, I knew they were gonna hire me. It's just a matter of where they were gonna put me and what shift I was gonna work. And the fact that they asked me what shift I prefer, yet they didn't consider it in the end, it's made me so mad. But that was a few months ago, and now that I've had time to think about it, meditate, talk to the Lord about it, call my parents, I'm actually not as angry about it as I was. I actually hadn't accepted the offer for a while. And I was just letting it sit there in my email. My manager like had to catch me on one of my shifts, and she was like, I noticed you didn't accept the offer? Did you not want to work here? Really pulled up on me. Then I basically ended up telling her like I was just hesitant about working nights, and I also had some other questions like about the job offer in general. And we ended up having like a really nice conversation, and she basically said like she could like switch my shift, but I told her like I was willing to like try it out just to see how it is, see if it's for me, you know, just feel it out a little bit, since I've never worked a night shift before. Like I said, I don't know, I could find out that this is probably the better option. That was my little brief experience with that whole job process. Obviously I haven't like started working yet. They literally like gave me a start date and everything, and I'm like, can y'all relax? Like, can I get a chance to pass my classes first? Y'all doing too much. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, even though I was really angry like at first, I'm very grateful that I have had the opportunity to secure a job. I'm kind of anxious to see how that's gonna go. I mean, that's gonna be a whole entire new experience for me. So, but yeah, that's all I had to say. If you like this video, I think you should go ahead and like it. You should subscribe for more, because I'll be spilling all my tea. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that's gonna be.